Toy Story 4 came with much anticipation, and now that we're a couple of weeks past the release, many people, myself included, are thinking it fell relatively flat. But just how and where is it lacking? Today, I discuss the problem with Toy Story 4.
I want you to meet Forky! Hi! Hello!
Hi! Hey everyone, and don't get me wrong, I loved watching this movie. Toy Story 4 is an extremely good film, especially on its own, and there wouldn't be much criticism at all if we didn't have Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 as reference points. But since we do, the fourth chapter to this simplistic masterpiece naturally has to be compared to its predecessors, partly in quality, but also how well it helps the series flow and connect. Because it's blatantly obvious that Toy Story 4 is the outlier of the bunch, relatively disconnected from the previous trilogy, and semi-confirming everyone's worst fear that the ending would be less satisfying than the ending of Toy Story 3. Which brings us to the question that many people had once the film was announced back in 2014, is Toy Story 4 really necessary? I mean, the last thing Pixar wanted to do when deciding to make a fourth film was to leave its audience wishing the series had ended at 3, but at least to me, that's sort of what happened. People have argued that Toy Story is centered around the toys and not Andy, which is why it's important to see how the toys, especially Woody, would react to a life without Andy, increasing the need for the fourth film. But the problem is that Toy Story 4 has almost nothing to do with Bonnie. Yes, you could say it demonstrates a toy's unwavering loyalty to any owner they might have, but if you look at the film as a whole, Toy Story 4 is actually very Toy Story 2-ish. In Toy Story 2, at Al's apartment, Woody and the toys are persuaded and almost seduced into going to the Tokyo Museum, and thereby choosing their own lives over their owners. Eventually, with Woody's lead, they turn down museum life and return to Andy, showing that undeniable Toy Story theme of love and loyalty for a kid. But what's really interesting is that Toy Story 4 has such a similar storyline. Instead of the whole toy gang, it's Woody who's severely tempted to leave his kid, Bonnie, and join Bo Peep and the carnival. The same theme all over again. Even the threats Woody and the toys face are very similar in both films. Whether it's Stinky Pete or Gabby Gabby and her henchmen, the villain in both Toy Story 2 and 4 is there for the purpose of testing Woody and the toys' loyalty, making it even harder for them to get back to Andy or Bonnie. But the situation gets even stranger when we get to the end of both movies. In 2, Woody obviously doesn't get seduced into going to the museum, maintaining the theme of loyalty for a kid, but in 4, he does precisely the opposite. We see him essentially spurn Bonnie and the rest of the toys for his own life with Bo Peep, showing how paradoxical the whole situation is. Pixar develops this crucial theme throughout the series, and then sharply cuts it off at the end of the final installment. Because the only things this could show are Woody's indecisiveness, or even worse, that Andy was more valued than Bonnie. And this is also where it seems like Pixar wasn't exactly sure of Toy Story 4's direction. Why is Buzz abruptly shoved out of the spotlight? Why does Jessie have no role until the very end of the film? Toy Story 4 is quite simply about Woody and his sudden desire to create a life for himself, and therefore doesn't fit with the rest of the series. No one would have argued that the Toy Story 3 ending wasn't a perfect finish for the entire franchise, but sadly, the whole fourth film caps the series off in an awkward, uncharacteristic, and disappointing way, and that's the problem with Toy Story 4. But anyway, tell me what you thought of Toy Story 4 down in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss any future content on Toy Story, Pixar, or anything I cover. And again, I really enjoyed the film on its own. I just think it doesn't fit with the rest of the series. Thanks for watching, see you later.